It's been a year, so we're heading back to Walt Disney World theme parks and resorts in Orlando, Florida. Hey everybody, welcome to the Down the Road Travel Channel. My name's Will Van Winkle. Now, the first time we did this, it was on a whim. We had about 8 weeks to do it. We'd found some gift cards that we'd forgotten about from the COVID closures. With all the confusion, and we had to change vacations about 3 or 4 times that year. We enjoyed it so much at Christmas time, we decided we would be going back to Walt Disney World in the winter this year. We started planning our trip in March, and we still ran into the same issues as we did when we were planning it 8 weeks in advance. The reason being, there are a ton of resorts. There's only one campground, Fort Wilderness. Favorite place to stay. I'm actually standing in the RV right now. We like staying at the Fort Wilderness because we have our own equipment, we have our refrigerator, we have our kitchen, we can do whatever we want to do, cook or just hang around the parks, whatever. Plus there's a ton of stuff to do at Fort Wilderness itself. Convenient to the parks, you can resort hop, you can go to the different parks, you can go to Disney Springs, and you never have to get in your car once you're there. So we try to stay at Fort Wilderness every time we go there, and we're planning on going back in at the end of 2024. We've already booked that one. They open up scheduling, or they open up booking for the park in May, at the end of May, so the beginning of June. It's actually midnight the last day of May, first day of June, depending on how you look at things. So we got next year's reservation already. This year, we ended up with 2 different spots. Last year, we had 3 different spots, and we had to keep playing around till we found one spot. We did the same thing this year. And this year, we stayed at the preferred campgrounds. The preferred campgrounds are extremely close to the boat that takes you to Magic Kingdom. So what we would do is we'd get up every day. We'd drive the car to the front of the park. We'd take the bus to whatever park we were going to. We had park hopper tickets, and we had reservations for Epcot, Animal Kingdom, and Hollywood Studios, and then we'd hop over to Magic Kingdom in the end of the day. We took our dog Chewy with us, so in the middle of the day we would go back to the RV. Somebody would at least drive the car back to the RV, catch the boat over, meet up with our with the party at Magic Kingdom. That way Chewy wasn't alone all day. We'd take him out, throw his ball. That's his favorite thing to do. He actually will do that for hours on end if you let him. So, get him a little bit of exercise, give us a little bit of a break from the park, and then head over to the park. And then it was great because we didn't have to worry about golf carts. We didn't have to worry about where the car was parked. So the preferred campsites actually, to me, seem to be worth a little bit extra money over the full hookups. I did not find, last year we were at Premium Meadow. It was great because we're right across the street from the Meadows Outpost. And the pool and all that stuff. Didn't find there was much of a reason to pay that much extra for that. The preferred, I think it was like $20 a night more than the full hookups, which is where we would normally stay, and which is where we're staying next year. It actually seemed worth it to me because of the location. The full hookups are great. They're all full hookup sites. Don't let the name of it deter you from anything. Officially opened in November of 1971, just 1 month after the Magic Kingdom opened. That means that Fort Wilderness was celebrating its 50th anniversary at the same time as the Magic Kingdom, and it is the least expensive way to enjoy all those resort perks that you get at other resorts, such as free transportation, early park entry, with tent and pop-up sites starting at about $80 a night. Now, the tent sites can easily accommodate pop-ups, smaller RVs, teardrops, things like that. The only problem is there's no sewer hookup. The 1,200 campsites and cabins sit on 750 acres, just 4 miles from Cinderella Castle. Now, they are in the process of refurbishing a lot of the cabins. It's been a while since they've done that, so it is actually time to do it. Each of the camping loops has a comfort station, which includes a bathhouse, restrooms, and a laundromat, place to wash clothes. The washer and dryers can easily be monitored via cell phone through the Fort's free Wi-Fi. We were only a few feet from an internet repeater, so our Wi-Fi was great this trip. Both the Meadows and the Settlement trading posts. So the Meadows is in the middle of the park. The Settlement is at the back of the park over by the Magic Kingdom boat. They offer basic items, s'mores fixins, some food items, and of course souvenirs. Some of which can only be found at the fort, including this backpack that my wife Dana really wanted, but unfortunately they were out while we were there. All sites are back in, and with the exception of the tent and pop-up sites, full hookups. Um, as I said, the tent and pop-up sites have no sewer. They do have 20, 30, and 50 amp hookups and charging stations at the front of the site for those golf carts, which can be rented from the fort from off-site companies, or you can bring your own. There's no age limit on the RVs that they allow at the fort. Some of those bigger parks, they'll say, they have a 10-year age limit. Fort Wilderness does not do that. The site we stayed at was listed as a difficult to back in site. I had no problem with our 30-foot Class A. RVs can be rented from offsite companies who will come in, set everything up for you, and if you have your own, but you're a little bit nervous about backing in, I've heard but cannot confirm that there is somebody on staff who will back your rig in for you if needed. There are also unhook stations along the main road. So for those of you like us who are bringing a toad, you can unhook it without causing congestion in your camping loop, and then you can just kind of follow the other person, whoever's driving the RV. Someone can follow them in the toad, and they can hook everything back up when you're leaving. Now, as I've mentioned earlier, there are a ton of things to do at Fort Wilderness, and activities at Fort Wilderness include archery, which is about $50 per person for a 75-minute lesson. Canoe or kayak rental, $15 per hour. Look, though, there are signs everywhere warning you about gators and snakes in the areas. And while Disney does do a pretty decent job of keeping those guys out of their waterfront, I'm not so sure personally I would rent a canoe or kayak or any other non-motorized watercraft. Occasionally they're going to get in. It's Florida. They had a bear there earlier in 2023. So these things happen, it's wildlife. There's horseback riding, $65 per person. You must be over 48 inches tall, under 250 pounds, and at least 9 years of age to ride. It typically takes about 45 minutes for the horseback riding tours. During the holidays, there are horse-drawn carriage rides through the campground loop, so you can take in the campers' decorations. The 25-minute ride costs $80 and can accommodate up to 4 adults or 2 adults and 3 smaller children. The horse-drawn carriage rides during the rest of the year are $65. Not sure what the difference is other than there were no lights to look at and no sleigh bells. I guess Disney needs that extra $15 to keep the bells in working order. If you know the difference between the two types of carriage rides, please let me know in the comments below. There's catch and release fishing, guided expeditions on pontoon boats or nitro bass boats. Can be 2 to 4 hours for up to 5 people, and the nitro bass boats accommodate 3 people. An extra hour can be added at the dock. There's also the option for dockside fishing. You can go on a fireworks cruise, biking. If you don't have a bike or you don't want to bring yours, of course, they rent them. For $9 to $20, helmets are required for guests under 16, and that is Florida law, folks. And e-bikes are allowed, but you are not supposed to use the e-function. Now, we saw a lot of people using the electronic function on their e-bikes, and a lot of, say, state and national parks are actually cracking down on e-bikes because they're rutting the trails. So I don't know if that's the reason that Disney's not allowing the electronic portion of the bike, or if it's for speed, safety, or any other reason. They just don't really want you to do that. There are a couple of pools, heated. Now, I say that with a certain level of sarcasm because they aren't all that warm in the winter. I think they were heated to maybe 75 degrees. Both pools have hot tubs. The pool by the Meadows Trading Post has a water slide and a kids splash pad area. Towels are not available, so make sure you pack extra if you're going to use those pools. Fireworks can be seen from the beach, as well as the electric light parade, which can also be seen from the Magic Kingdom boat. During New Year's, the boat stops running about 30 minutes before the big fireworks and will cease to run until about 45 minutes after the big fireworks display, so make sure you plan accordingly with that. The boats do run, actually all the transportation do run about an hour past the park close. Let's see, there are playgrounds, there's volleyball courts, basketball courts, tennis courts. I think I saw a pickleball court. There's a couple of arcades, a dog park, which turned out to be a bit too people-y for Chewy. We started walking that way. He heard a bunch of kids screaming. We got there. We were like literally across the street. He turned around and started walking the other way, literally pulling me with him. For a little 10-pound dog, he is pretty strong. He's kind of a jerk, but I did get him from a family that had small kids that were a little rough on him. So I understand why he doesn't really want to be around kids. Screaming kids freak him out. Now, here's one thing that I do want to say. Make sure your kids are checking and respecting people when they have pets. People came up and tried to pet my dog without asking, and of course that sets him off. So, and then I've told many people many times, because he's a small dog, they go, "Oh no, dogs love me," and they go pet him anyway, or try to pet him anyway. And then when he tries to kill them, they get upset and they tell me how mean he is. Well, I warned you. You didn't listen. So, make sure you tell your kids to respect the person who's holding the leash, because they're going to know that dog better than you are. Don't forget about Chippendale's Campfire Sing-Along, making s'mores. There's a food truck roundup, which for some reason moved from over near Trails End to the Campfire Sing-Along area. And there's very few tables over there, so I'm not really sure why they did that. I know they're doing some work on the campground, but I don't know if this is a permanent change or not. There's even an all-terrain Segway tour for $90 to $100 per person for a 2-hour excursion. So even if you don't go to the park for some reason, there's no shortage of things to keep you occupied at Fort Wilderness. Now, if you're taking the boat to Magic Kingdom, you'll notice on the right-hand side there's a island, and that was the precursor to Animal Kingdom. It is off limits, but if you look around on the internet, you can find some really eerie photos of the abandoned park. And then on the left, this is going towards Magic Kingdom, by the way, there's a tree with a bunch of shoes on it. And I hear people ask all the time, why are there so many shoes on that? Apparently, when people retire from the boats, whether it's the Fort Wilderness boat to Magic Kingdom or any other boat, they throw their shoes on the tree as a retirement rite of passage. This year when we went, there was a boat that went from Fort Wilderness to Wilderness Lodge. We did not go on that. We didn't do a lot of resort hopping this year. We were planning on doing so, but we only went over to the Animal Kingdom. And then, we spent a little bit of time at Disney Springs, grabbed lunch, did a little souvenir shopping. It's nice going to the world of Disney where you have everything in one place. Now, as I stated earlier, for the winter season, they open up booking about 18 months in advance. So for 2024, we already booked our campsite at Fort Wilderness. We booked that back at the end of May, beginning of June, depending on how you look at things. So those peak times, if you're wanting to get a site, make sure you do that as soon as booking opens, because it is the only campground. It books up quick. And it also is the least expensive way to enjoy those park perks. So some people will rent the tent site, stay off site, and they still spend less than if they were to, say, stay at Art of Animation or something like that. Or they'll get like an Airbnb or something that's a little bit bigger for them. And so you see a lot of those tent sites are empty. This year we did see a few people tent camping. There weren't quite as many decorations as last year, but it was still way over the top. I mean, people go all out decorating the campsites there. They have a golf cart parade that tends to start in October. So around Halloween time, they'll have a golf cart parade for Halloween decorations, and then they'll have a golf cart parade for Christmas decorations. It's technically a contest, but there's no real prize. You just, you won. Congratulations. But it's all in good fun. As I said, you have the fireworks cruise. You can see the fireworks right there from the beach. They do have the Trails Inn restaurant. P&J, which was their quick service, closed, but it's still the pretty much same menu at Trails Inn. Hoop-de-Doo Review. A lot of people will come over to Fort Wilderness from other hotels, other resorts, to go to the Hoop-de-Doo Review. Now, there is alcohol allowed at the Hoopty-Doo review, so people tend to leave a little more jovial than when they got there. We have seen people pretty well plastered. We were planning on doing some resort hopping. We didn't get to that because people were starting to feel a little under the weather. Disney has reinstated their policy of trying to get more people into the area so that they can keep those lines down. And they're saying, again, if you see floor, there's room for more. So we left with an unexpected souvenir. Now, I originally intended this to be a combination video for Fort Wilderness, for Disney Springs, for resort hopping. As I said, we didn't do a lot of resort hopping. But there's just so much to talk about at Fort Wilderness that this is pretty much dominating the video. If you have any questions about Fort Wilderness, leave them in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. If you like the original music that I use in the background, you can find that on your favorite streaming app right here on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all down the road.
Let's hit the road.